Hi friends, this video is on chapter 37 of Right to Recall Party Manifesto. Right to Recall Party Manifesto you can download from rahulmehta.com/301.htm. Chapter 37 is improving civil criminal cases, specific civil and criminal cases. So first is improving land record system. I have described it in detail on my website rahulmehta.com/id04.htm. I'll repeat, id04.htm. That has got complete description of how we can improve land ownership record system. What is the problem with land record ownership problem? I'll make a complete separate video on it. Here I'll briefly mention that in Australia in 1860 this law was made that if person is buying and selling land, or he is leasing the land for more than 3 years, or mortgaging, or any land related deal, both buyer and seller have to do it physically. They have to be present in registrar's office and they have to sign it before the registrar. Immediately registrar will change the entry. So now it is not possible for owner to sell it to 2, 3, 4, 5 people, which is possible today in India. How is it possible that today in India, the law is that, let us say I own a piece of land, I sell it to X, and X does not register it, because there is no law that he has to register it within 1 day, 2 days, otherwise the contract is void, etc., etc. Any contract sale, even if it is unregistered, it is valid as per today's law. So I sell it to X, then I sell it to Y. Then ownership of X is valid. Then what can Y do? Y can come and sue me if he can find me. Now what if Y goes and possesses the land first? Then X and Y will keep fighting in the court. Finally the court will give judgment in favor of X, because X had obtained the legal right, contract, the legal right first. But why such situation does not happen in Australia after 1860? Because in 1860, if I own a piece of land or a flat, it is not possible for me to sell it to 2 people. Why? Because I have to sign the contract in registrar's office, otherwise it is void. So the buyer will not sign the contract outside registrar's office. So moment I sign the contract in registrar's office, immediately the registrar will sell it. They will change the name to A or X or Y or whosoever. And now it will not be possible to sell it to me to Y, because if I go to registrar's office, registrar will say that it is no longer in my name, it is in the name of X. So this is called as Torrens system. I request you to Google on it. TORRENS. TORRENS, Torrens title. Torrens is the name of the person who devised this scheme in year 1860. He was a clerk in shipping company, then he became a clerk in governor's office, and he saw that there is so much theft of land going on, fraudulent double sale, triple sale, etc. And why such thing does not happen in case of ship? Because in case of ship, there is a title is transferred where the ship is registered, and title is transferred immediately, and the buyer and seller have to sign the contract in the office where the ship is registered. So there is no dispute of ownership in case of, and he told governor that the same system should be used for sale of land. So governor implemented it for one district. It was very much successful that all land related complaint drastically dropped, and then gradually it started implementing all over Australia. And because of his work in this area, Queen awarded him the title of Sir. So he is known as Sir Robert Torrens. So Australia implemented in 1860, and then gradually one after other European countries started implementing it. Germany implemented in year 1900. India has not implemented it even today. So today there is no government authorized title to speak of. The title is given by solicitor. He is a private person. That title is not the final word. It has value, it has a lot of value, but it is not the final word. And so-called Satbar Utara 712 is not the proof of ownership. There is Supreme Court judgment which says that 7 bar utara 712 document is not a proof of ownership. What is 712 ownership? It is just the name of the person to be contacted if taxes are not paid. That's all. As long as the taxes are coming, the patwari, the local village officer, is not required, is not authorized to contact the owner and even know if the owner is dead or alive or exists or does not exist. So, we have to create a law which will make government issue a document which is final ownership of the title and all the transactions are done on that. Also today there is something called property card, but that is issued to landowner. It is not issued to flat owner. And the society has the property card. So if the society has divided the plot into several subplot, then every subplot may not have property card. So what law I am proposing is that every flat, every plot will be registered in Patwari's office and the sale transfer has to be done there. And moment it is the document is sold, immediately the name will be transferred. So that is the law related with land record system. And all the land ownership detail will be put on the internet. And if the owner has said that okay, put my name public, then the owner's name will be published and the next owner's name will be also published for next 15 years. So that way, if somebody makes a fraudulent sale, you will come to know very soon. And the system will be connected with SMS, email, etc. So if by chance somebody sells my land illegally, immediately I'll get the SMS, email, etc. Further, you can also put a lock, so the land or plot cannot be sold till the lock is removed, and after the lock is removed, the land or plot can be sold only after 1 month. So that gives double protection, that I can put a lock on my flat. So if somebody tries to sell the flat, then first he will have to remove the lock. Moment he removes the lock, I will get an SMS or email, so immediately I can take an action that who is trying to sell my plot fraudulently. Further, you can put the photograph and phone number, etc. of the owner. So the buyer will also double check that is this the same photograph of the person, is this the same mobile number, and so forth. So that way the land record ownership detail will be put on the internet. It is possible today, it is trivially possible. But why no revenue minister is interested in doing it? Because all of them are so busy making money. Revenue ministers are the most corrupt people in any ministry, next to chief minister. Of course, chief minister is the boss, he is the big boss. He will collect share from every ministry. But after chief minister comes this revenue minister, and then comes finance minister. In center it is different. In center it is most corrupt is the prime minister, and then comes finance minister. So that is one. Second is the law to reduce usury. What is usury? Usury is charging high interest. What is high interest? In my opinion, it is 24%, but some Supreme Court judge says that credit card company can charge interest up to 48%. So currently the definition of usury is 48% per year. Interest more than 48% is called usury. So my definition of usury is twice the fixed deposit rate. That is, no private lender can charge effective interest rate of more than twice the fixed deposit rate. If the fixed deposit rate is 10%, private lender can charge 20%, but no more. And how to stop it? The law draft I have proposed is that every person who has lent any money to anyone will have to register his debt. Every person who has given any money to anyone will have to register his debt and accrued interest and pending interest and everything, and this will be tallied with his income as disclosed in income tax record. So if his income is much below the interest etc. is charging, then he can be penalized for income tax. And in the disclosure, once it is documented, then he cannot charge more than 20% a year interest on this. And what if he is illegally charging interest or using criminal? Then the person can file the court, even third party can file the court case before grand jury. And if the grand jury thinks that the person is illegally charging more interest, then the jury can order narco test on him. And if the narco test proves that he is illegally charging more than 20% interest, then he can be thrown into prison. Then jury can throw him in prison for up to 3 years. Now, why we must end usury? Because if usury goes on, then there will be farmer suicide and all sort of nonsense, and then person will become poor, and large number of poor person will convert to Islam or Christianity or whatever. And once the person converts, this sahukar or money lender does not have courage to charge 10% interest anymore, because the missionary or the mullah has so many high political connections that he will get him imprisoned in no time. So large number of poor persons, they are converting mainly because of usury. So I have proposed this law which will reduce usury. Then law for speedy divorce and child custody. Today the divorce trial take years and years and years. So I have proposed a law that the divorce trial, the jury will be called and jury will decide within 3 to 4 weeks at most. Before jury there will be pre-trial. In pre-trial it will be negotiations for divorce, mutual agreement, if they can reach a mutual agreement. Second, the law has to be made. In child custody, the law is very simple. The woman gets the child custody. That's what all over the world, unless the man proves that the woman is not capable of maintaining the child, maybe she is alcoholic or mentally unstable, etc. But that is very difficult to prove, and the burden of proof is on him. Otherwise the woman gets child custody instantly. But the divorce part is easy, that if the alimony will be as per the contract, prenuptial contract. If there is no prenuptial contract, it will be 14% of the husband's income, and if he has hidden the income, then it will be 14% of the hidden income as decided by the jurors. So jurors can decide the income and also 14% of the wealth, half the wealth that increased after the marriage. See, suppose in America a person marries today and he divorces there after 1 year, then only the increase that happened in 1 year, half of that goes to the wife, or as per the contract. So that is the law I have proposed for speedy divorce. Then 498 and Domestic Violence Act should be repealed, and there should be jury trial in case of domestic violence, and there should be jury trial in case of dowry related complaint, and the jury should be allowed to take narco test. If the person has beaten or physically harassed the wife, then he should be fined. Then next law I am proposing is public vote to legalize opium, hashish, etc. See, please note, I am not making any statement that if I come into power I will make drugs legal. I am not making any statement that drugs should be legalized. All I am saying is that we should take a public vote using TCP, transparent complaint filing, on whether hashish should be legalized or not, opium should be legalized or not. Some 60 years back opium was legal in India. The pharmaceutical company gave bribe to health minister and MPs, powerful MPs, to criminalize opium. Why? So that the sale of painkiller increases. And then said that there is lot more money in it. Why? Because once opium was criminalized, the sale of painkiller drugs went up. So pharmaceutical company made a lot of money, and consumption of tobacco increased, and consumption of liquor increased. So when consumption of tobacco and liquor increased, pharmaceutical companies made more money, because now there are more cases of TB, and there are more cases of cancer, and there are more cases of liquor related problem like the liver sclerosis and all that. So whereas opium and marijuana, they don't have any ill side effect. Of course, if you take tons and tons, then you will die, but nobody takes tons of marijuana or opium. For normal dose, opium does not make a person violent, does not make a person criminal like alcohol. Alcohol makes a person more potentially vulnerable to committing crimes like violence, beating, brawl, even rape. Alcoholism shoots up rape, whereas opium consumption in fact decreases crimes like rape. And tobacco causes cancer, it causes TB. Opium and marijuana do not cause cancer or TB or any neural problem either. And this is least addictive. Addictive in the sense that, let us say, a person has tragedy in his life, so he starts taking opium. When the tragedy goes away, the consumption of opium automatically starts decreasing, and he gets rid of the addiction. It is the tobacco is most difficult for de-addiction, and liquor is also very difficult for de-addiction. Once a person becomes liquor addict, it is very difficult for de-addiction. So opium is basically made so that liquor making companies make more money, and this tobacco making company, this pharmaceutical companies make more money. Once a public vote is taken that should opium addict be thrown into prison, then most people may say, I am not saying what they will say, I will say that they should not be thrown into prison, because they are not committing any crime, they are not causing any harm to anyone. So that way it may happen that opium becomes legal. The countries which have legalized marijuana, crime rate is decreasing. I request you to Google on Netherlands high security prison, and you will find an article that high security prisons in Netherlands are decreasing. Why they are decreasing? Because they legalized marijuana. So marijuana became legal, the price literally dropped to 1/10 of what it was. Because it was illegal, the prices had gone up 10, 20, 30 times. And when it became legal, the price came down to 5% of what it was. So now the marijuana addict or opium addict does not have to resort to crime to buy marijuana. It is so cheap that he will do menial labor for 5, 6, 7 days. So now he has enough food for 15 days, he has enough opium for 15 days, so he will take opium, he is all happy in his own world. He runs out of money, so again he does menial labor, and they are capable of doing menial labor 3, 4, 5 hours a day. So their consumption in fact decreases. Now they do not want expensive clothes, they do not want jewelry, they do not want liquor. Their tendency to commit crimes like violent crimes and rape drastically goes down. So, and when the tragedies in their personal life decreases, they give up the addiction automatically. So that way, legalization of opium can in fact decrease liquor consumption, it can decrease tobacco consumption, and it will decrease cancer and many other diseases. Another that I am proposing is public vote to legalize commercial sex. Currently it is banned in the sense that it is everywhere. But why it is banned? It is banned because that way police, MP, MLA and judges make a lot of money. Judges, relative lawyers, sorry, not judges. Judges, relative lawyer make a lot of money, and they get favors as well, because the business is illegal. So now the people who are in this business, they want to be in good books of MP, MLA, ministers, policemen and judges, relative lawyer, and therefore lot of favors are given. And of course bribes are given. So right now they have banned commercial sex only to collect bribe from this business. What I am proposing is to have a public vote on whether commercial sex should be legalized or not. Then laws to reduce adulteration, it is no big deal, jury trial. Once there is jury trial, the jury will start throwing all the people who do adulteration, food adulteration, milawat, into prison, and the adulteration will decrease. By the way, in British time, from 1870 to 1945, British days, you can ask any of your elder, I mean the knowledge would be lost by now. I am 45 years old, so when I was a kid, there were a lot of people 50, 60 years old who had seen British time, and they said that milawat, food adulteration, was non-existent. There would be some water in milk, fine, but you can simply, there were like getting all sorts of adulteration like urea in milk or synthetic powder in milk, or getting various type of powder mixed in turmeric powder, or various type of powder mixed in flour, etc. That was simply unheard. Why? Because Britishers were using jury system to deal with cases of adulteration. If a person is caught adulteration, Britishers will put him before jury, jury will throw him in prison. What happens today? That he is thrown before a judge. The judge gets the best quality food for free. Go to any judge's home, you will get best ghee in the world, you will get best organic sugar in the world. They get all the food for free, so they don't mind if the person is making adulterated food, because he is not affected by that problem. So he takes the bribe and lets the adulteration person walk away, and therefore we have sort of adulteration. So that way these crimes will reduce. So what are the crimes I said reduce? Improving land record, putting all the land record on internet, so that these crimes related with land theft decreases, and narco test in case of usury, high interest rates, money शाहूकार जो बोलते हैं ना, मतलब 4% वाले नहीं, जो कि महीने के 10% 12% लेते हैं. इन सम एरिया इट इज नॉन एज पठानी और रबार. मतलब this crime is not restricted to Pathan. In fact, most money lenders, high interest charges are not Pathan. Pathan are hardly in Ahmedabad, if you ask me, hardly 5 to 10% such high interest charging people are Pathan. Mostly these crimes are done by Banya and everyone. It is nothing to do with caste. So jury will be allowed to take narco test on those who are accused to charge interest more than 24% a year. 24% a year. Today the interest these illegal people are charging is 10% a month, that is 120% a year. 120% a year, that is the interest they are charging. And narco test for domestic violence cases, but repeal the laws. Public vote. Take the public vote on whether 498A, Dahej wala Kanun, and Domestic Violence Act should be removed or not. And then take public vote on whether opium should be legalized or not. Take public vote on whether commercial sex should be legalized or not. Thank you.